The morning sky above Earth's United Defense Force headquarters turned an unusual shade of purple. Admiral James Walker stood by the wide observation window, his coffee cup frozen halfway to his lips. In his 30 years of military service, he had never seen anything like it. "Sir," Lieutenant Tom rushed into the office, his face pale. "Multiple objects just appeared at the edge of our solar system. They're massive, sir. Bigger than anything we've ever seen." Walker set down his coffee carefully. The military had prepared for this day for decades, but the reality of it still sent a chill down his spine. "Show me," he ordered, following Tom to the command center. The main screen displayed a terrifying sight. Hundreds of massive ships, each larger than Earth's biggest city, hung in space just past Neptune's orbit. Their dark metal hulls seemed to absorb the distant sunlight, making them look like holes in space itself. "Message incoming, sir," announced Captain Mary from her communication station. Her fingers flew over the holographic controls. "It's being broadcast on all frequencies, in perfect English." Walker nodded. "Put it through." The screen flickered, revealing a tall figure in elaborate golden armor. Its humanoid features were too perfect, almost artificial. "People of Earth," the figure spoke, its voice deep and commanding. "I am Grand Marshal Richards of the Galactic Empire. Your world has been chosen to join our glorious empire, spanning 10,000 star systems. Resistance is unnecessary and would only lead to unfortunate consequences." Walker's expression remained neutral, even as his mind raced. The Empire's arrival wasn't unexpected. Earth's hidden observers had reported their expanding territory for years, but their timing was concerning. "Your primitive civilization will benefit greatly from Imperial guidance," Richards continued. "You have 48 Earth hours to announce your surrender and begin the integration process. We are being generous. Most worlds receive 12 hours. The transmission cut off, leaving the command center in tense silence. "Sir," Tom's voice wavered slightly. "What are our orders?" Walker turned to face his crew. Each face showed the same mix of fear and determination. They all knew what was at stake. "Begin Protocol Silent Shield," he commanded, "and get me a secure line to the World Council." Around the world, hidden installations hummed to life. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, quantum computers began their calculations. In underground bunkers across every continent, systems that had waited decades for this moment activated. The Empire's ships were impressive, Walker thought. Their technology was advanced, their numbers overwhelming. But they had made 3 crucial mistakes. First, they assumed Earth was primitive, simply because humans had carefully maintained that appearance. Second, they had dramatically underestimated humanity's preparation time. And third, perhaps most importantly, they thought they were dealing with a divided world. Walker entered the secure communication chamber, where the World Council was already gathering virtually. 20 holographic figures appeared around him, representing Earth's unified leadership, a fact kept secret from the rest of the galaxy. "They're early," said the council leader, her hologram flickering slightly. "Our latest intelligence suggested we had at least another year." "True," Walker replied. "But we're ready. Operation Lighthouse is in place. Our agents are positioned throughout their key systems. Most importantly, the quantum MILVA device is operational." The council members nodded gravely. Earth's greatest weapon and greatest secret was ready. A device capable of triggering a supernova from light years away, developed not for destruction, but as the ultimate deterrent. "Then we proceed as planned," the council leader declared. "Admiral Walker, you know what to do." Walker returned to the command center, where his crew awaited orders. The massive Imperial fleet still loomed on their screens, a constant reminder of the threat they faced. But beneath his stern expression, Walker felt a glimmer of hope. The Empire thought they were dealing with a primitive, easy target. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. "Send out the scout ships," he commanded. "Standard evasion patterns. Let's show them exactly what they expect to see. A panicked, disorganized response from a primitive world." He allowed himself a small smile. For now, Marcus stepped out of his perfectly disguised ship, now hidden in a quiet forest outside New York. The Imperial Scout had spent months preparing for this mission, studying human behavior and customs. His nanotechnology suit made him appear completely human, a simple businessman in a dark suit. The Empire needed to know Earth's true defensive capabilities. Their long-range scans had shown primitive satellites, basic space stations, and outdated nuclear weapons. But something didn't add up. Most civilizations surrendered immediately upon seeing the Imperial fleet. Earth's calm response was unusual. Walking through the busy streets of New York, Marcus observed the humans closely. They seemed unusually relaxed for a population that had just learned about alien life. He expected panic, chaos, or at least some military presence. Instead, people went about their daily lives, occasionally glancing at the strange purple sky with mild interest. Breaking news announced a large screen on a building. World leaders continued discussions about the Imperial ultimatum. Markets remained stable as global cooperation efforts increase. Marcus frowned. This wasn't normal. He'd studied hundreds of first contact scenarios, and this didn't match any of them. He entered a local coffee shop, ordering a drink to maintain his cover while he listened to nearby conversations. "Did you see those ships?" a young man asked his friend. "They're huge." "Yeah, but have you seen the new quantum processor my company just developed?" "Way more interesting," his friend replied, barely looking up from his device. Marcus nearly dropped his coffee. Quantum processors. His intelligence briefing had said Earth was at least 50 years away from that technology. He needed to investigate further. Using his Imperial credentials, disguised as high-level business contacts, Marcus visited several technology companies over the next day. Each visit revealed more shocking discoveries. The humans weren't just working on quantum computing. They had mastered it. Their clean energy technology was far more advanced than reported. Most worrying of all, he detected traces of technology that shouldn't exist on Earth at all. In a secured communication from his hidden ship that night, Marcus reported to Grand Marshal Richards, "Sir, something is wrong. These humans, they're hiding their true capabilities." "Explain," Richards demanded, his holographic image showing clear annoyance. "Their public technology appears primitive, yes. But I've found evidence of advanced development in quantum physics, energy manipulation, and possibly even dimensional engineering. It's like they want us to underestimate them." "Impossible," Richards declared. "Our intelligence reports may have been compromised." Marcus interrupted, earning a harsh glare from his superior. "Sir, I believe they knew we were coming. Not just recently. They might have known for years." Richards was silent for a long moment. "Continue your investigation. Find proof of these claims." The next morning, Marcus noticed he was being followed. The man tracking him was good. Very good. Too good for a primitive civilization. Marcus tried every Imperial evasion technique he knew, but couldn't shake his tail. Finally, in a quiet park, Marcus turned to confront his follower. The man was already sitting on a nearby bench, reading a newspaper. "Impressive evasion techniques," the man said without looking up. "Imperial training, I assume." Marcus froze. "Who are you?" "Let's just say I'm someone who's been watching the Empire for a very long time." The man finally lowered his newspaper, revealing a friendly smile that didn't reach his eyes. "We've had agents in your empire for decades. Did you really think we wouldn't notice your expansion toward our system?" Marcus's mind raced. This changed everything. If Earth had infiltrated the Empire, how? He managed to ask. "Humanity has a unique talent," the man explained, standing up. "We're very good at appearing harmless while preparing for the worst. Right now, your fleet sees a primitive world with basic defenses. Would you like to know what we really have?" Before Marcus could respond, his Imperial communicator beeped urgently. Earth's official response to the ultimatum was being broadcast. As he listened to the message, his face grew pale. The humans weren't just ready for the Empire. They had weapons that could destroy entire stars. Marcus looked back at the bench, but the mysterious man was gone. In his place lay a single piece of paper with a message. This was your only warning. Dr. Anna Thompson stood before the massive quantum computer deep beneath the Pacific Ocean. The machine hummed quietly, its crystal core pulsing with a soft blue light. As Earth's leading quantum physicist, she had spent 15 years developing this technology, all for this moment. All systems are ready, Doctor, her assistant Bill reported, checking the final readings. The quantum link is stable. Anna nodded, her expression serious. Begin recording the transmission. The world's leaders had chosen her to deliver Earth's response to the Empire. Not a general, not a politician, but a scientist. The message needed to be clear. Earth wasn't primitive, and they weren't helpless. In the Imperial Fleet's command ship, Grand Marshal Richards received notification of an incoming transmission. The massive view screen activated, showing a simple laboratory setting with a woman in a white coat. Greetings, Grand Marshal. Anna began, her voice calm and professional. I am Dr. Anna Thompson of Earth's Global Defense Initiative. We have received your ultimatum, and we have prepared our response. Richard smiled condescendingly. Do you surrender? No, Anna replied simply. Instead, I'm going to explain something about stars. She pressed a button, and a holographic display appeared beside her. Every star in the galaxy is connected through quantum entanglement. It's a basic principle that your Empire's scientists discovered 3 centuries ago. Richards' smile faded slightly. Earth shouldn't know about that research. What you haven't discovered, Anna continued, is how to use that entanglement to trigger a controlled fusion cascade. The hologram showed a complex equation. We call it the Nova effect. Would you like a demonstration? In the command center of Earth's Defense Force, Admiral Walker watched the transmission with pride. The Empire was about to learn why you don't threaten a species that had spent its entire history preparing for the worst. Anna touched another control, and new data appeared. There's an uninhabited star system at these coordinates. It's far enough from populated areas to be safe, but close enough to make our point. Watch carefully. The Imperial sensors detected a sudden energy spike from Earth. It was tiny, almost unnoticeable. A fraction of a second later, a star 40 light-years away began to pulse erratically. Impossible, Richards whispered, watching his instruments. The star's fusion reaction was accelerating beyond control. The process takes exactly 3 minutes, Anna explained, as calmly as if she were giving a lecture. We can trigger it from anywhere in the galaxy, using less energy than it takes to power a small city. We've mapped every star in your empire. We know which ones are inhabited, which are crucial for trade routes, which power your key military installations. The demonstration star flared brilliantly, then collapsed in on itself before exploding in a perfectly controlled supernova. The blast was contained, affecting only its immediate system. That was at 10% power, Anna noted. At full power, the blast radius would be significantly larger. The Imperial command ship erupted in chaos. Officers rushed to verify the data, to understand how a supposedly primitive world had developed such devastating technology. You're bluffing, Richards declared, but his voice lacked conviction. This is some kind of trick. Anna smiled for the first time. Your scout, Marcus, has already reported our quantum technology. Your own sensors just recorded the Nova effect. And your historians might want to look into how many unexplained stellar phenomena have occurred near systems that threatened Earth over the past 50 years. She leaned forward slightly. We don't want war, Grand Marshal. We don't want to destroy your empire. What we want is simple. Leave Earth alone. Let us join the galactic community on our own terms, as equals. The transmission paused briefly as Anna picked up a small device from her desk. You have 1 hour to withdraw your fleet. After that, we'll assume you need another demonstration. There's a suitable uninhabited star much closer to your current position. I believe it's the one powering your secondary fuel depot in Sector 7. The transmission ended, leaving the Imperial command ship in stunned silence. For the first time in its 1,000-year history, the Empire faced a civilization that could destroy them without firing a single conventional weapon. In her underground laboratory, Anna turned to Admiral Walker's hologram. Message delivered. Do you think they'll listen? Walker smiled grimly. They better. Because that wasn't a bluff, was it? No, Anna replied, watching the quantum computer's crystals pulse. It wasn't. Grand Marshal Richards paced in his command chamber, watching the time display count down. 45 minutes remained to make his decision. Around him, his advisors argued fiercely. We can't give in to primitive threats. General Peters slammed his fist on the table. The Empire has never backed down. Did you not see what they did to that star? Admiral Jones countered, pointing at the sensor readings. That wasn't a trick. Our best scientists have confirmed it. Marcus, the scout who had investigated Earth, stood quietly in the corner. Sir, he spoke up, I don't think they're bluffing. And I don't think that was their only weapon. Richard stopped pacing. Explain. During my investigation, I found evidence of other advanced technologies, things we've never seen before. I think, Marcus hesitated, I think they've been preparing for this moment for a very long time. 30 minutes remained when the Empire's long-range sensors detected another energy spike from Earth. This one was different, stronger, more focused. Sir, a technician called out. They're targeting the star near our fuel depot. Richards felt a cold sweat form on his forehead. They had called his bluff, or was it a bluff at all? Battle stations. Prepare for emergency jump. But before he could give the order to retreat, every screen in the command ship changed. Dr. Anna Thompson appeared again, looking completely calm. Don't worry, Grand Marshal, she said with a slight smile. This demonstration will be perfectly safe for your fleet. We're using only 5% power this time, and we've calculated the blast radius precisely. The targeted star began to pulse, just like the first one. But this time, the Empire's entire fleet had a front-row seat to witness the power of Earth's quantum technology. Watch carefully, Anna continued. Notice how we can control not just the power of the reaction, but its direction as well. The star's energy began to spiral, forming a beautiful but terrifying pattern of plasma and light. It was like watching an artist paint with fire across the canvas of space. Impossible, whispered one of the Empire scientists. The level of quantum control needed for this. We're centuries away from such precision. The star flared brilliantly, then collapsed. The resulting explosion was smaller than the first demonstration, but far more controlled. The blast formed a perfect sphere that stopped exactly at the calculated boundary, not a single energy wave reaching beyond it. As you can see, Anna's voice continued, we can target specific areas of space. We could, theoretically, remove your fleet's fuel depot without damaging any of your ships, though that would leave you stranded here, which would be inconvenient. Richard stared at the screens, watching the replays of both demonstrations. In all his years serving the Empire, he had never seen anything like this. Earth hadn't just developed a weapon. They had mastered control over the very stars themselves. 20 minutes remaining, Grand Marshal, Anna reminded him. Oh, and while you consider your options, you might want to check on your long-range communication systems. Richards quickly ordered a diagnostic. The report made his blood run cold. Somehow, Earth had blocked all faster-than-light communications. His fleet was cut off from the Empire. Just a temporary measure, Anna assured him, as if reading his thoughts. We can't have you calling for reinforcements before we finish our discussion. The block will lift once we reach an agreement. Marcus stepped forward. Sir, if they can block our communications and control stars with this level of precision, what else can they do? Richards looked around his command chamber. His officers, the pride of the Imperial fleet, looked shaken. These humans hadn't just developed one superior technology. They had systematically prepared countermeasures for every Imperial advantage. "Dr. Thompson," Richards finally spoke, his voice heavy with resignation. "I wish to discuss terms." Anna nodded approvingly. "A wise choice, Grand Marshal. Though I should mention, this isn't just about your fleet anymore. Our agents throughout your empire have already begun sharing the data from these demonstrations with your subject worlds. I imagine that's going to lead to some interesting conversations when your communications are restored." As if to emphasize her point, the remnants of the demonstration star pulsed one final time, sending a beautiful aurora of colors across space, a reminder of Earth's power wrapped in a display of artistic control. The Empire had come expecting to find primitives. Instead, they had found masters of the stars themselves. The meeting room aboard the Imperial flagship was tense. On one side sat Grand Marshal Richards and his top advisors. On the other, Earth's delegation led by Admiral Walker and Dr. Thompson. But the most shocking presence was High Commander Robert Smith, who had served the Empire for 20 years. "I believe," Smith said, removing a small device from his uniform that changed his appearance from Imperial to human, "it's time we had an honest discussion." Richard stared in disbelief. "You're human?" "Born in London," Smith confirmed, his accent now clearly English. "I've been reporting on Imperial movements for 2 decades. And I'm not the only one." Walker nodded. "We have agents in every level of your government, military, and scientific institutions. The Empire never noticed because you were too busy looking for threats from advanced civilizations. You never suspected the primitives." The Imperial officers shifted uncomfortably. Their entire intelligence network had been compromised, and they hadn't even known. "But why?" Richards asked. "Why go to such lengths to appear weak?" Dr. Thompson pulled up a holographic display showing Earth's history. "Humans have a saying, the nail that sticks out gets hammered down. We watched how your empire treated advanced civilizations, immediate conquest to prevent competition, but primitive worlds. You left them alone, thinking they'd be easy to conquer later. So we stayed quiet," Smith continued. "We developed our technology in secret. Every time you scanned Earth, we showed you exactly what you expected to see. A developing world that would be easy to conquer. While your empire grew through force," Walker added, "we grew through infiltration and preparation. The quantum star technology is just one of our advances. We have others." As if on cue, the ship's engine suddenly shut down. Emergency power activated, then failed too. "Don't worry," Thompson said calmly. "It's temporary. Just a demonstration of our quantum field technology. We can shut down any power source in our range. Your ship's engines will restart in exactly 1 minute. Right on schedule, power returned to the massive vessel. The Imperial technicians frantically checked their systems, finding everything normal, as if nothing had happened. Now, Walker leaned forward. "Let's discuss the future. We don't want war. We don't want to destroy the Empire. What we want is reform." Smith pulled out a datapad. "I've spent 20 years studying your Empire's structure. It's inefficient. Your conquered worlds resist you, draining resources. Your military spends more time suppressing rebellions than protecting trade routes. You're powerful, but unstable. What are you proposing?" Richards asked, his voice careful. "A partnership," Thompson answered. "Earth joins not as a conquered world, but as an equal. We help you transform the Empire into a federation of willing partners. Our technology and your infrastructure, working together." "Impossible," General Peters protested. "The other worlds would never accept such changes." "Actually," Smith smiled, "they already are. While we've been talking, the data from our star demonstrations has spread throughout the Empire. Our agents are already meeting with local governments. They're very interested in an alliance with Earth." Richard sat in silence for a long moment. His empire, the most powerful force in the galaxy, had been outmaneuvered by a world they had considered primitive. The humans hadn't just prepared for war, they had prepared for peace on their terms. "If I refuse?" he finally asked. "Then we leave," Walker said simply, "taking our technology, our agents, and our knowledge of your weaknesses with us. How long do you think your empire would last once every resistant world knows about your vulnerabilities?" Thompson added softly, "But if you agree, we can build something greater than an empire. A true galactic civilization, based on cooperation instead of conquest." The room fell silent as Richards considered the offer. Smith, his most trusted commander for 20 years, watched him carefully. Walker and Thompson waited patiently, knowing they held the stronger position. Finally, Richards nodded slowly. "It seems we have much to discuss, partners." As the negotiations began in earnest, Smith caught Walker's eye and smiled slightly. Phase 1, preventing war, was complete. Now came the harder part, reshaping an empire. Outside the ship's windows, Earth glowed quietly in the distance, no longer pretending to be primitive, but not flaunting its power either. Just like its people, Earth had learned the strength of appearing harmless, while holding the power of stars in its hands. News spread through the empire like wildfire. On 1,000 worlds, hidden human agents activated their networks. Screens everywhere showed the same images: Earth's demonstration of star control, the Empire's fleet standing down, and the beginning of negotiations. On the desert world of Alpha Prime, one of the Empire's oldest colonies, Governor Mike watched the crowds gathering in the streets. Unlike other Imperial governors, he was human, part of Earth's vast network of agents. He had waited 10 years for this moment. "They're ready," his assistant told him, another hidden human agent. "Every major city on Alpha Prime is watching." Mike nodded and stepped onto the balcony overlooking the capital city. 1,000,000 citizens looked up at him, their 4 eyes blinking in the bright sunlight. "People of Alpha Prime," he began, his voice carrying across the square. "For generations, the Empire has ruled through fear. Today, that changes. Earth offers us a different path: freedom, partnership, and progress." Similar scenes played out across the Empire. On industrial worlds, farming planets, and mining colonies, the message spread. Earth wasn't coming as a conqueror, but as a liberator. Aboard the Imperial flagship, Grand Marshal Richards watched the reports flood in with growing amazement. "How many agents do you have?" he asked Smith. "Enough," Smith replied simply. "We've been placing people for 50 years, every governor, general, or scientist who disappeared mysteriously, replaced by one of ours." The Empire was so focused on controlling its worlds that it never noticed its own leadership being slowly changed. Dr. Thompson pulled up a galactic map showing spreading points of light. Each flash represents another world declaring support for the new Federation. "Your empire isn't falling, Marshal. It's transforming." But not everyone welcomed change. On the Imperial capital world, hardline military leaders tried to seize control. They launched ships, planning to crush the revolution before it could spread. Admiral Walker received the news calmly. "Dr. Thompson, would you like to show them our other technology?" Thompson nodded and sent a signal. Across the galaxy, quantum field generators activated. Every ship launched by the Imperial hardliners suddenly lost power, floating harmlessly in space. "As I said," Thompson explained to Richards, "the star control was just one of our advances. We can shut down any technology we've studied. And we've had decades to study Imperial tech." The revolution continued, but it wasn't like any revolution in history. Instead of violence and destruction, there was organization and change. Earth's agents revealed themselves on world after world, showing how humans had worked alongside the local people for years. On the trade world of Beta 6, human merchants who had pretended to be simple traders showed the locals how to use Earth's advanced technology. In the mining colonies of the Gamma sector, disguised human workers taught their alien friends how to operate quantum-powered tools. "This was always the plan," Walker explained to Richards as they watched the reports. "Not to destroy the Empire, but to change it from within. Every human agent had 2 missions: learn about your worlds and prepare them for this day." Smith added, We knew a straight fight would cost too many lives. So we chose a longer path. Infiltrate, understand, and prepare. Now the Empire can become something greater, a true federation of equals. More reports flooded in. The Imperial Senate, guided by disguised human advisors, voted to accept Earth's proposal. The military, finding many of its own officers were human agents, stood down. Even the Imperial Academy discovered its headmaster was from Earth. "Your people are either brilliant or insane," Richard said, watching his empire transform. "Possibly both." "We're survivors," Walker replied. "Earth's history taught us that the best way to prevent war is to make sure everyone has too much to lose by fighting. That's what we're offering. A future where everyone gains by working together." As the day ended, the revolution was nearly complete, not through weapons or warfare, but through careful planning and peaceful change. Earth had spent 50 years preparing not just to resist the Empire, but to transform it. The Empire had expected to find a primitive world ready for conquest. Instead, they found humanity had already conquered them, not with force, but with patience, cleverness, and a vision of a better future. 1 month after Earth's demonstration of star control, the galaxy had changed forever. The Great Hall of the former Imperial Palace buzzed with activity as representatives from 1,000 worlds gathered for the first meeting of the Galactic Federation. Admiral Walker stood at the entrance, watching the diverse crowd. Beings of all shapes and sizes moved through the hall, talking freely with their former Imperial rulers. Human agents who had lived secret lives for decades now walked openly among their alien friends. Quite a sight, isn't it? Dr. Thompson appeared beside him, still wearing her lab coat despite the formal occasion. From potential war to galactic partnership in just 1 month. The Empire really had no idea what they were walking into when they threatened Earth. Walker smiled. They thought they'd find primitives. Instead, they found humanity at its most creative. In the center of the hall, Grand Marshal Richards, now serving as temporary Federation coordinator, spoke with High Commander Smith. Both men had played crucial roles in the peaceful transition. "The trade agreements are exceeding expectations," Smith reported, showing Richards a datapad. "Worlds that barely communicated under Imperial rule are now establishing direct partnerships. Earth's quantum technology has made transportation and communication faster than ever." Richards nodded, still amazed at how quickly things had changed. "And the former Imperial military being reformed into the Federation Defense Force," Smith replied. "Mixed crews, shared technology. Your experience combined with our innovations. The first joint patrol ships launch next week." Across the hall, Marcus, the former Imperial scout who had first discovered Earth's true nature, sat with a group of alien scientists. Dr. Thompson joined them, bringing up a holographic display of the quantum star control technology. "We're not keeping secrets anymore," she explained. "Every member world will have access to Earth's advances. But more importantly, we want to learn from you too. Each world has unique knowledge to share." The alien scientists leaned forward eagerly. Under Imperial rule, sharing advanced technology had been forbidden. Now, collaboration was encouraged. Near the hall's massive windows, Governor Mike from Alpha Prime met with other former Imperial governors, both human agents and loyal Imperial officials who had embraced change. "The transition has been smoother than anyone expected," one alien governor noted. "No major conflicts, no economic collapse. Because we spent 50 years preparing for this," Mike explained. "Earth didn't just infiltrate the Empire. We studied it, understood its problems, and planned solutions. When the moment came, we knew exactly what to do." Walker moved through the crowd, remembering how close they had come to war. If the Empire had attacked immediately instead of giving an ultimatum, but they had underestimated humanity, just as Earth had predicted they would. "Admiral," Richards called him over. "The Federation Council is ready to begin the first session." Walker followed Richards into the Grand Council chamber. Representatives from every world took their seats. Former Imperial worlds, Earth colonies, and Earth itself, all equal under the new system. Dr. Thompson presented the first motion, sharing Earth's quantum technology across all Federation worlds. The vote was unanimous in favor. Next came trade agreements, joint defense plans, and educational exchanges. "This is what we really wanted," Walker told Richards quietly as they watched the proceedings. "Not victory over the Empire, but partnership with it. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our ability to infiltrate. It's our ability to turn enemies into allies." Outside the palace, the capital city gleamed in the evening light. Ships from 100 worlds moved through the sky, their quantum drives glowing softly. On screens across the galaxy, citizens watched their representatives work together in the new Federation. The Empire had threatened Earth, expecting an easy conquest. Instead, they had found a civilization that had spent half a century preparing not for war, but for peace, on humanity's terms. As the first session of the Federation Council ended, Walker looked at the assembled representatives. Humans sat next to former Imperial officers, scientists from different worlds shared notes, and former enemies made plans together. The Empire set its sights on Earth. He mused, never knowing that Earth had set its sights on something far greater, a united galaxy. And in the skies above, stars shone peacefully, no longer weapons of war but symbols of humanity's promise to use its power not for conquest, but for the benefit of all.